I'm also putting up the different things here that I'm asking for in this essay. So take a look at that essay, mark your notes, and I'll give you a couple minutes. And if you're just joining us, take a look at the essay. It's up on the chat, or you can look at it in Canvas. And I'm asking everybody just to write down one thing that they found positive about the essay that the writer is doing, and one thing that they found to be a problem with the essay, something that confused them, maybe something they noticed as a mistake, or, you know, suggestion for something they could revise.
I am.
Would it be the quote? Or the like quote is only like party of six, please, and not like an actual quote.
Oh, so you're bringing up the quotations, and maybe you're a little confused about the quotations if they're done correctly or not. Is that what you're asking? They're dialogue, but they look like quotations.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So when you are writing dialogue like this, for the most part, it's fine to do it like this, but I would suggest putting a comma after said, and then always make sure that you're capitalizing the first thing that you're writing. But you can definitely use quotation marks to mark your dialogue. And there's just a difference between dialogue and quotations. Dialogue is when someone's speaking something, and a quotation is usually when you bring something in from another book or a magazine or something online, and you're putting it in quotation marks. But that's a really good thing to bring up. Yeah, so I would put a comma after said, and I would capitalize the first word.
The first sentence, with no hesitation, choose Black Angus. It should be I chose Black Angus.
Very good. Very good. Another thing that you guys brought up. So here there's a small grammatical error, and it was my night to pick the restaurant, and with no hesitation, I chose, right? And so choose, is this the correct spelling of choose?
It's the correct spelling of choose, but it should be chose.
C-H-O-S-E. That's
Yes.
correct. So yeah, that's really good to point out. There's some other small grammatical errors. Did anybody else see any others?
Medium, I thought that she put med rare. I think it should be MED period or medium spelled out.
I would spell out medium. This is an essay and it should be more formal. So
Okay.
abbreviations aren't usually used for a more formal essay. So I would just spell the whole word out. Good, very good. Did you guys notice? Okay, so this essay is definitely about her family, and she's totally annoyed at her brother Brian. And later on, in the second, I think it's in the, where is it? If one of you guys can find it, where she has Brian, but she doesn't capitalize his name. That's another one. Oh, here it is. So make sure that your names, proper nouns are all capitalized in your essay. It's a small grammatical error. And if you're not doing it a whole lot, then it's usually okay. You're not going to get like a million points taken off for that. But if you're doing it quite a bit, which she kind of does, some of these print capitalization errors once in a while, then I'm definitely going to point it out and say, hey, look at how you're capitalizing, and are you confused about capitalization? So a proper noun is a name, a person's name or a specific name of a brand, like Oscar Mayer, Heinz, or Brittany, okay, or Tatiana, or Jaime. Those are all capitalized because they're proper nouns. So most of you probably already knew that and caught that. But I think when I'm reading this, I'm always in the mind of the student. Like, what were they thinking about when they were writing this? Believe it or not, I read these and I think about who you are. And I think, oh, this is definitely a sibling rivalry. You know, this student's probably annoyed at her brother a lot. And it comes out in the essay. Anything larger. By larger, I mean higher order concerns. Things like, were you confused about what the story was about?
No.
Okay.
I was wondering about paragraph separation.
Yeah.
She
That's-
said, well, my prime rib, please, and it goes on. And then she says, as we were full of bread, should that have been a split paragraph?
Okay, that's a good question. Before we get to the answer to that question, I want to talk a little bit about organization as a whole. When you read this, there's a flow to it. So you know automatically what this is going to be about, or do you? How do you get, for Patricia, when you first looked at this essay, what did you think that this essay was going to be about?
About the well, just reading the first reading the title, it makes me think that it talks about like a Japan girl with her aunties.
That's exactly what it's about. So we say that this is and it's a fancy way of saying it, but it's an inferred thesis statement. Okay, inferred just basically means it's between the lines, that you caught on to it, but it didn't specifically say, my essay is going to be about this, right?
Yeah.
So we get that it's going to be about the Japan aunties, but when we first read the first 1, 2, 3 paragraphs, what is this essay actually about?
Eating.
That's right, eating. So this is a really good moment to say, when I'm, and I'm gonna just stop share for just a second, but when I'm reading an essay of your guys's, I always think about who you are. And when I read this essay, I thought, where is this student? What time of day is this student, was this student writing this essay? What time of day do you guys think she was writing this essay?
I don't know.
Um,
When she was hungry, maybe? Lunchtime?
Dinner
Lunchtime
time.
or dinner time. Exactly. So I read this and it's all about the food. In my mind, the student was about to go to Black Angus, which is a restaurant we used to have here, a steak restaurant. This student was about to go to Black Angus with her family, and she's like, oh, I got to write this, get my essay started. And so she starts typing, but she's thinking about the food. She's thinking about all of that stuff. And so positives for this essay might have been really good details, right? Like I'm looking at prime rib. I'm looking at, I mean, she even talks about her mom getting 2 things of horseradish, right? And stealing her horseradish. There's a lot of detail in here, but the problem is not the detail, but what the detail focuses on. Again, what is this essay supposed to be about?
Her grandmother dying.
Right,
She
right.
find out, she
And
passed-
that's right. It's about her finding out her grandmother passed away. And not only that, what else is it about? Not food. About her aunties
Her aunts, yeah.
and how she very specifically says, right here in paragraph number 6, which is a really big, and I'm coming back to this issue of paragraphs. But look at this paragraph compared to all of the other paragraphs. This is paragraph number 6. This paragraph has all the information about the 3 different aunties. Well, that's a problem, right? Because you get 3 whole paragraphs just on food, right? Baked potatoes and prime rib, but you only get 1 paragraph about specifically about what she wants to write about, how this woman was so impactful. She's so powerful, her grandmother, her Bachan, that it has all 3 parts of these other women in her. And that's only in 1 paragraph, 1 big, giant, weird paragraph. This is a really good indication of where you might want to look at your paragraphs. And it's a higher order concern because, like I said, this paragraph is doing a lot of work for the whole essay, whereas this paragraph, it doesn't really do much. And this one really doesn't do much. It just shows she's kind of hungry and she's, it's setting up. But could you, and I'll pose this to a question for you guys and thumbs it up if you agree. Could you write your introduction about this and just have 1 paragraph that goes through introducing the dinner and finding out? Would you do
Yeah.
that? Would you start an essay with just this paragraph?
I don't know.
Hey, I had lost. I had a phone call earlier and I missed some parts of this meeting. So I was wondering if you can explain to what we're supposed to do on this first draft.
What we're working on this is we're reading the draft that I put in the comments on the chat. And we read it over and we're talking about ways we can, things that this essay is doing that are doing well and things that this essay is doing that is not going well, that we would change. So the essay you can find in a couple of different places and one of them is on the chat. So you should be able to see it on the chat and just go through it and make a note about something that you would change and something that you liked about the essay. So let's get back to that. This introduction is doing some good things. It's bringing us into the essay and some students would like that. But what was, if you can remember, what was the part that was the most, I guess, interesting part that you got to in the essay? It's okay to have more than one.
To me, it was how she was describing the aunt's clothing being like her grandmother's. That really told me that they were very similar to her.
Right.
And she liked that.
Right. That's this part of the essay. It's all in paragraph 6 again, right? What else? And I'm going to highlight this paragraph right here. Uncle Ted said the words, "I can never forget. I think you should sit down." We all sat down on the L-shaped couch with the floral blanket covering it. The only that would fit all of us. This paragraph, what's happening in this paragraph? working member. This is the paragraph that she finds out her grandma is sick, her Bachan is sick, right? This is where she finds out her grandma is sick. This is the moment. Okay, so let me pose this to you. And Jeremiah, let me pose this to you as well. If someone came to you and said, I think you need to sit down, I'm going to tell you something difficult.
Very important, yeah.
Yeah, what would your emotional reaction to that be?
Yeah, what happened? Like,
What
what's going
happened?
on?
What's going on? In an essay, if I started the essay with this, let me give you an example. If I started an essay that said, we went out to eat, to our favorite restaurant, Black Angus, and then after we had this great dinner, we all got into the car and went to my uncle Ted's house. And then my Uncle Ted said the words I'll never forget. I think you should sit down. What if this student started their essay this way? Would you think that this would be a good way to start the essay?
I do. I think it would be better than all the stuff she had before that didn't really get into what was actually going to happen.
Right. I think that the student could organizationally, I think that the student could make these two paragraphs just one paragraph and really start in that third and fourth paragraph. And what's the problem with that? If I tell you, okay, let's try Tatiana. If for some reason this was your essay and I said, okay, I want you to condense, I want you to take out most of these two paragraphs, what would your reaction be? Anyone else can answer in case Tatiana's not there.
I would think all my words are gone. What I wrote's gone.
Exactly.
Whoa.
You're gonna say, what the heck am I gonna write then? Right? Okay, Ms. Baca, you're gonna make me take all this away. Well, that's why this part of the norming session is really helpful, because there are other parts that can be added to. And you guys have already brought up 3 different times the same paragraph that should be added to. And that's paragraph number 6. So I might say, yeah, you got to take some of this stuff out because it's not working for the essay, but look at this paragraph. There's so much in here. There's 3 different ants. Could you ask the student to maybe write a paragraph about each of the ants? Absolutely, and maybe break this up. Then they'd have to do a little bit more writing, but they'd be doing it in a way that was more clear and got to the point a lot sooner, because they don't get to this point until 6th paragraph. They only have 1 paragraph left. That means you've read the entire essay and you didn't get most of the information until the end. And that doesn't work. So I would suggest, I'd tell this student, hey, maybe some of this description you can take out, but what you can add is these other paragraphs. You can add more about how these aunties are so important. Flesh them out. And I brought this up with a student, I think Patricia earlier, but, or Patricia, sorry. Earlier, and that is that this rough draft, what I brought up earlier as a shitty first draft, that's what this is. But what else it is a really good skeleton. And you want to flesh that skeleton out. There's stuff here that I would keep. The 4th and 5th paragraph, sitting down with her cousin, all of those things are really, really essential for this essay and really touching. I would keep all that stuff, but I would use this as a skeleton and I would flesh out, create the body for the rest of the essay so that you're not having to get through 3 paragraphs to get to the actual story. Okay. And that's a lot of times what students say is happening that's really good for this essay is the detail, right? All of the really good details. And there's some good details with the ants,
Can you hear me?
but there could be more. Yes. Yeah, I can hear you. Okay. And so that's what I would suggest is think about this as a first draft. It's not written in stone. You can change it. And when you write it down, don't think about it as this is all bad stuff. Think about it as this is an opportunity to do justice to the ant. And if you're writing an essay that's talking about someone else in your life, Jeremiah, I think you were writing about a brother, right? And if you're writing about somebody else in these essays, you want to be able to write about it in a way that it does justice to that person. So the detail should be focused on the person and on your experience with that person, or the experience that you experienced, right? If you're writing about a life-changing experience, it should be focused on that. Is this essay, as it is right now, is this essay doing that? Not yet.
Can you ask that question again?
Ah, yes. Is this essay doing justice to to her grandma, to her bachan?
I feel it is.
It is in some parts. Is the introduction doing justice to the grandma?
No.
No. And so I would shorten it and add more details in that are going to do that. I'd shorten the introduction and get to the point a lot sooner. Does this essay have a thesis statement?
No.
No, it does not. If you searched and searched and searched, you would not find a thesis statement. You might see this as being the thesis statement. Let me go back here. You might see down here at the 6th paragraph. All right. You might see this as a thesis statement. Just as my bachan would tell me, children are to be seen and not heard. I knew how great she was. But that was when I realized she was so great that she was the equivalent to 3 great women. That's a thesis statement. You can move that to the beginning of the essay, and then it would set you up really well. So there's no essay that we could find early on, but there's something that we could use from the essay itself. So the student isn't just rewriting the whole essay. Does it have a unique title?
Not unique, I don't think.
Yeah, it's not that helpful. Patricia, did you have something you wanted to add about the title?
Yes, but she didn't even mention only one auntie, which is Bacham. He just mentioned the 3 of them, so which is like the whole story is about Bacham, the favorite one, the one that she's missing so much instead of the 3 of them. So it was kind of like that she should be like probably like pick another title.
Yeah. So maybe something like my bachan, the equivalent of 3 great women. She already has it written in there, right? So something, or my bachan, what she meant to me, you know, or my bachan. And then when you read that, you'll know what to look for.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a really good point. This has an introduction, a body, and a conclusion, but do they need some work? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. After just talking about this for 30 minutes with me, if you were this student, would it be a little bit more clear what kinds of things you would want to make changes about? So let me ask that again. If you met with me and we talked about some of these things, would you feel a little bit more confident in what you needed to change in the essay?
Yes.
Okay, good. So hopefully, and we're pretty much out of time, but hopefully what this did was it at least started to get you guys to think about what I'm looking for the essay, how to read the assignment and look for the specific things. Do you have to get it all right in the first try?
No.
Not at all. What I want you to do is start to get that essay, the story down and what you think about it. And you're all writing about different things, right? But then we can meet one-on-one and I can help you with making those changes that you need to make so that you're ready to move on to an essay that's a little bit more challenging. But this essay is challenging enough. It's not easy to write about your own personal feelings and your memories and things, but at least you just have to write a story here and a reflection. So with that, I wanted to just leave you with a couple of things to think about as you're moving forward and writing your essay. And that is read the assignment. It's really helpful. I give you things to actually specifically try to get to. And this is a rough draft, so you get a chance to talk to me about it after you've written it. And so pay attention to those things. And hopefully this was helpful. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
All right, well, that's gonna end it. I've gotta get out of this room because my air conditioner is not in this room and I am about to turn into a puddle. Questions?
So what am I supposed to do for the turn-in thesis statement for essay number 1, the rough draft, and the turn-in moments of being essay number 1, first draft?
Good question.
So I had a phone call earlier and I missed a lot of information.
I'm recording this so you can take a look and watch it over. Yeah, so you should be able to watch this if you have questions. Okay, so the thesis statement is the topic, what it is, what is it about, and the controlling idea. What did I learn from it? What did I get from this? And it's all about that essay that you're working on, the rough draft, which is about the epiphany that you're working on, right? Some moment in your life that you realize something for the first time. Did you graduate and realize what your education means to you? You know, were you young and you realized, oh, you know, my dad's not perfect, you know, he makes mistakes, whatever your issue or discussion or topic is and what you learned from it. That's what you're writing for the whole essay. Your thesis statement is only 2 little sentences. Does that help answer that?
What should those 2 thesis statements contain?
Good question. What should they contain, you guys?
Like those 2 sentences, what should they be about?
What should those 2 sentences be about?
Yes.
I'm asking you guys.
It should be an idea.
The topic and the controlling idea.
The topic, what it's about. Perfect. Thank you. The topic, what it's about. The controlling idea. What did you learn from it? There's a lot of information on that thesis statement page on the Canvas, and that will help you to also see what to write about for that. And I'm looking here.
That used to be midnight.
All right, here we go. I'm going to stop recording.